And the second report held for debate, separate vote is policy report number 3. Again, Councillor Carr on policy report number 3, the CD1 rezoning on West 13th and 14th at Heather Place.
Great. Thanks so much, Mr. Mayor. So I have a few questions on this, and my first one is around the current rents versus the proposed rents. I'm not sure if I saw that detailed in here. Thank you.
Abby Bond, Assistant Director of Housing Policy. We can provide more information if you want at the public, and we didn't include the proposed rents, the detail of that, or the current rents, but that is something we can get information from the applicant on.
I think that would be useful. I'm anticipating that there may be questions from the public about that. Thank you. So in terms of the tenant relocation plan, that's detailed on page 8. It said that some can stay. There might be an ability for some people to be able to stay while construction is undergoing. Are there any more details about that? Like, is that most of the people? Is that all? But I think that that's another question that is going to be arising. I anticipate some concern around current tenants around this.
Yep, and again, we can provide some more detail as well at the public hearing. I would say that there are a number of tenants who've entered into an agreement who are already moving within the development right now in order that they can stay in situ for about another 3 years before having to do the permanent move. So there are a number of things that the applicant is doing to try and make this move easier for tenants.
Great. Okay. And in terms of, thank you, it'll probably still be you, in terms of the new targets for the number of units that will be allocated for people with disabilities and also subsidies. I'm not sure where those particular targets came from. I know it says that compared to, for the number of units for people with disabilities, up from 2.5% to 5%, and then for the number of subsidized users from 15% to 30%. But how did we arrive at the 30% and the 5%?
In consultation with the applicant through the discussions that we had with them about the project and about their proposals.
Okay, so again, maybe some preparation in terms of response to those questions, because I, again, anticipate that there will be public interest in how many of those units, and could it not be more, and so I think some explanation would be good. And finally, there was I have some concerns around shadowing. So I think it's on page 7. There's a note around, and it's also in Appendix B1, where there's a, in Appendix B1, page 1 of 11, there is concern around shadowing on the child care facility, and I'm sorry, but I didn't seem to kind of get the shadowing in here. So if there can be more information provided about the shadowing and how that could be reduced.
Good morning, Kent Monroe, Assistant Director of Planning. As a matter of course, we bring all the detailed shadow diagrams and analyses to the public hearing, so they'll be available there. Right. I can just state that generally that wasn't a matter that was of concern, and we feel was dealt with through the process. That what is before you minimizes shadows on the areas that you're. Yeah,
it is in the conditions of approval. So the Urban Design Panel noted it, and because it's in saying reduction. Note to applicants that there should be some changes around that. That's why I'm flagging it as something where I'd like to.
Sure, we'll address that at the hearing.
Great. All right, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor Carr. Councillor Meggs.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So, Ms. Bond, in your experience, is the ability of tenants to remain on site during changeover like this routine, or is it unusual?
It's not always possible to do that, so I think the applicant has put some attention to trying to make the phasing work around the existing tenants.
So the phasing of it allows people to stay who might otherwise be dislocated.
That's correct.
And I guess the last one is a built form question, so maybe not your department, but Mr. Monroe, the The neighboring building is the old nurses' residence. Can you just remind us of the comparative heights of the proposal and the nurses' residence?
I believe they're similar, but I'll just ask Mr. Naylor if he knows exactly how high they are.
The diagram on page 13 of the report has the heights of all the surrounding buildings. So the Tapestry building is 10 stories. And the tallest building in this proposal is also 10 stories directly across the street from it.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, I did have one more for Ms. Bond, if you don't mind. Sorry to make you get up and down. Are you, I mean, this is a public body that owns the site and is doing the development. Have you been kept up to speed on their relations with the tenants, the efforts they've made to stay in touch with the tenants and brief them as the process went along?
Yeah, we have details of the correspondence that they've entered into with the tenants, both meetings and letters that have been sent. And in many of our meetings, we've asked for updates about how things are going and discussions that are ongoing with tenants. Yeah.
I think it would be good to ask Metro Housing to provide some information at the hearing about their liaison with the tenants, their creation of a tenant committee, the dates on which the tenants were informed of various stages of this project, because I know a lot of effort's been made in that regard. Thanks.
Thanks. Councillor Meggs, did you want to move?
Yeah, I'm happy to move referral, sir.
Referral. I have no other questioners. Motion to refer from Councillor Meggs. Any debate? All those in favor of referral to public hearing? Any opposed? And that carries unanimously. Okay, we have concluded with those reports that were held for debate or separate vote.